When you got your dog, you probably imagined all the fun walks and adventures that you would go on together. Getting outside with their dog is amazing, but not if we're getting dragged. It's hard to enjoy this. As a dog trainer, pulling on leash is the most common obedience issue that I'm asked to help with. In this video, we're going to cover 7 mistakes that cause dogs to pull and how to fix them. The first mistake is not enough exercise. Many dogs are not sufficiently exercised for their breed, and therefore they have a lot of pent-up energy. For example, if you're only taking a border collie for a 30-minute walk per day as their only chance to exercise, that is not enough, not even close. It's not reasonable to expect your dog to walk nicely beside you if they're chronically under-exercised. If you want to successfully train loose leash walking, make sure that you burn off some of that excess energy before you go on the walk. Try incorporating short bursts of high-intensity exercise, such as running in a field, chasing a ball or frisbee, or playing with other dogs before starting training. Providing adequate exercise is part of being a responsible dog owner. Make sure that you meet your dog's needs before expecting them to meet yours. Mistake number 2 is progressing the difficulty too quickly. Many people feel that if their dog can walk nicely on leash in a boring environment, then it should mean that they can walk nicely everywhere, but this isn't true. The environment majorly affects the difficulty of a skill. The example that I often give my clients is saying their ABCs. If I asked you to recite the ABCs out loud in your room, you could likely do it. When you're not overwhelmed or distracted, saying your ABCs is a simple task. Now what if instead I put you on a stage in front of 10,000 people and I asked you to say your ABCs into a microphone? You'd likely get so overwhelmed or flustered that you'd make a mistake. I know I would. You know your ABCs, but where and how you're asked to execute the task of saying them changes your ability to successfully complete it. Context matters a lot. Dogs are no different. Having your dog walk nicely next to you on boring concrete with no major sounds or distractions around them is dramatically different than walking down a busy road or past another dog. For this reason, I actually recommend starting loose leash training in your house or in your backyard. Start in situations where your dog can be successful, reward the behavior that you like, and progress the difficulty and distractions slowly.
Yes. Yes, good girl. Let's go. Come on, Sharon.
Mistake number 3 is not understanding their sense of smell. Dogs have up to 300 million scent receptors in their nose. How many do we have in comparison? 6 million. The area of a dog's brain that's dedicated to processing smells is also 30 times larger than ours. Depending on breed, a dog's sense of smell is overall about 1,000 to 10,000 times better than ours. If we put that into context of our main sense, which is sight, the difference is seeing something like this and like this. This might just sound like random trivia, but it has a massive impact on behavior and training. For dogs, smells can be incredibly distracting on walks, and getting to sniff them is highly rewarding. I absolutely believe in letting dogs sniff on walks, but we need to be aware of what happens before the sniff. If your dog drags you over to a smell, they've actually been rewarded for pulling. Things that get rewarded get repeated. This leads to the next mistake that I often see. Mistake number 4 is confusing heeling with loose leash walking. It's still common for people to believe that their dog needs to walk in a perfect heel at all times, otherwise they aren't good on leash. I disagree, and I feel that there's 2 versions of walking politely on leash. To me, heel means walking perfectly by my side at my pace. It's intentionally strict with no sniff breaks. It's essentially all about focused movement. Despite some people in the force-free world being triggered by the term heel, I still think that is a valuable skill to teach. It's useful on busy sidewalks or for moments when you need to get somewhere quickly. Next, I define loose leash walking as the dog going anywhere that they want as long as there isn't leash tension. If they want to sniff, I stop and wait. This is the way that dogs prefer to walk because they get to adjust their own pace, they get to enjoy sniffing, and they aren't forced to walk in a straight line, which is unnatural to them. It's normal for your dog to want to break out of a heel sometimes and go sniff things. Therefore, why not put it on cue and teach loose leash walking as a skill? As long as there's no tension or pulling, loose leash is great. Remember, dog walks are often the only time that your dog gets to leave the yard that day, and they're typically the highlight of your dog's day. Please let your dog sniff and have fun. If you're enjoying this video, please hit like and let me know in the comments. It really encourages me to keep creating new content. Mistake number 5 is walking too slowly. I often notice that as people try to teach loose leash walking, they walk really slowly because they don't want to get the dog too excited. This will backfire. One of the reasons that dogs pull in the first place is because we typically walk much slower than they naturally do. Imagine taking a turtle for a walk. How long before you get frustrated with their pace? Walking really slowly is going to hinder your training, not help it. Try to walk at a decent pace and reward your dog for matching it. You'll also both get a little bit more exercise. Mistake number 6 is using a retractable leash. I left this one for later in the video because I suspect that this statement is going to cause a little bit of an uproar. I hate retractable leashes. Retractable leashes literally require force in order to extend. The dog has to pull in order to get more length. A flexi or retractable leash reinforces that pulling equals more freedom. They're reinforcing the very behavior that you're trying to fix. For neighborhood walks, I recommend a 6-foot leash, and for extra sniffy walks, I recommend a long line. Mistake number 7 is phasing out treats too quickly or ever. It continues to baffle me how strong of aversion some people have to using treats for training. Every species likes to get a reward for effort. Think about yourself. Would you go to work if you didn't get paid? Do you feel like once you're good at your job, you should just do it for free? So why should your dog work for free? Asking them to walk nicely on leash is actually a really difficult request. I believe in giving treats lavishly at the beginning of training when we're trying to build new skills and then slowly decreasing the amount provided.
Good girl.
Why this obsession with phasing them out entirely though? Treats are a way of telling your dog that they're doing a good job. Reinforcing a desired behavior such as walking nicely on leash encourages the dog to do it again. Remember, reward the behaviors that you want repeated. If you want to see a tutorial video of how I teach loose leash walking, hit subscribe because I'll be uploading one with Charlotte here next week. Let me know in the comments, are you guilty of making any of these common loose leash walking mistakes, and is there anything else that you think should be added to the list? Thank you so much for watching.